A kiss can save a life, but can it heal a heart that forgot how to feel? Rain hammered the asphalt like 1,000 broken promises. The city blurred into streaks of neon and shadow, and in that chaos, a body lay motionless beside the wreckage of a black Mercedes, steel twisted, glass scattered like fallen stars. Kale Ashford, Empire heir, 28 years of power wrapped in indifference, now bleeding onto cold concrete. And then, her. Mira Solano appeared through the downpour, soaked uniform clinging to her frame, cleaning supplies abandoned on the sidewalk. She'd been scrubbing floors in a building 3 blocks away when she heard the crash. No one else stopped. No one else cared. But she did. She dropped to her knees beside him, rain mixing with the blood pooling beneath his head. His eyes fluttered, barely conscious, slipping away. Shock. Trauma. His pulse fading like a whisper. "Stay with me," she breathed, her hands trembling as they found his face. He didn't respond, his body was shutting down. Mira had no medical training, no phone, no help coming, just instinct, and a memory from a first aid course she'd taken years ago at a community shelter. Keep blood flowing, keep oxygen moving, keep him conscious. So she did the only thing she could think of. She kissed him. Not romantic, not soft. Desperate, her breath forcing life back into his lungs, her lips pressed firm against his, her hands cradling his jaw as if holding him to this world by sheer will. Once, twice, again. His chest rose, his eyes opened, dark, stunned, locked onto hers through the rain. "You're here," he whispered, voice raw. "I'm here," she said. "Don't close your eyes." He stared at her like she was the first real thing he'd ever seen, like the world had just been born in that moment. Sirens wailed in the distance. She stayed until the paramedics arrived, until they pulled him onto a stretcher, until the ambulance doors closed and red lights disappeared into the storm. She never gave her name. She simply walked away. 3 weeks later, Kale Ashford stood in the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, staring at the city below. Healed, alive, haunted. He'd searched for her, hired investigators, scoured footage. Nothing. All he had was the memory of her face, rain-soaked, terrified, beautiful, and the feeling of her breath pulling him back from the edge. "Sir, your meeting with the board starts in 10 minutes, his assistant Damon announced from the doorway. Kyle didn't turn. "Cancel it." "Sir." "I said cancel it." Silence. Then, hesitant. "There's something else." "We found her." Kyle's entire body went still. Damon stepped forward, tablet in hand. "Mira Solano, 24. Works night shifts cleaning office buildings downtown. No family. Lives in a boarding house in the East Quarter. She doesn't know we've been looking." Kyle took the tablet, stared at her photo. Same eyes, same quiet defiance. "Where is she now?" "She's working, building across from Ashford Tower." Kyle grabbed his coat. "I'm going." "Sir, you can't just..." But he was already gone. Mira scrubbed the marble floors of the executive lobby, knees aching, hands raw. Midnight. The building empty except for security. This was her life, invisible, tireless, forgotten. She heard footsteps behind her, slow, deliberate. She glanced up and froze. Him. The man from the rain. The man she'd saved. Standing there in a tailored black suit, eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that stole her breath. "You," Kale said softly. Mira stood, bucket in hand, heart hammering. You're okay. Because of you." She shook her head, stepping back. Anyone would have... No one else did." He moved closer, slow, careful, like approaching something fragile. "You saved my life. I didn't do anything special. You gave me your breath when mine was failing. You stayed when everyone else walked past." His voice cracked just barely. I've been looking for you. Mira's hands tightened on the bucket handle. Why? Kyle stopped, just feet away. Rain from that night still lived in his memory. Her eyes, her desperation, her refusal to let him go. Because I need to know who you are. I'm no one, she whispered, just someone who was there. You're not no one to me. The words hung between them, heavy, impossible, true. Mira looked away. You should go, I have work to finish. Let me take care of you. Her head snapped up. What? You saved me. Now let me save you. I don't need saving. Everyone needs something. Kyle's gaze softened. And I need to give you what you gave me. A chance. Mira's throat tightened. No one had ever looked at her like this, like she mattered, like she was more than hands that scrubbed and feet that ached. I can't accept anything from you, she said quietly. Why not? Because people like you don't owe people like me anything. Kale's jaw tightened. I'm not people. I'm the man whose life you held in your hands. Silence stretched between them, charged, fragile, trembling with something neither of them understood yet. Finally, Mira spoke. If you want to repay me, just forget this happened. Forget me. Live your life. She turned to leave. I can't, Kyle said. She stopped. I've tried. Every night since that moment, I see your face. I feel your hands. I hear your voice telling me to stay. His voice dropped to something raw. You didn't just save my body, Mira. You reminded me I had a heart. Mira didn't look back. Couldn't. Because if she did, she'd see the truth she'd been avoiding. That kiss had changed both their lives forever. But when Kale's world discovers the girl who saved him is just a cleaner with nothing to her name, how far will he go to protect the only person who ever saw him as human? If you believe love is stronger than status, like this video. If you want to see where this story goes, subscribe. Because what happens next will break your heart before it heals it. Kale didn't sleep that night. He sat in his office, 30 floors above the city, staring at the file Damon had compiled. Mira Solano. Every detail felt like a wound. Orphaned at 16, no education beyond high school, 3 jobs just to afford a room with peeling wallpaper and a shared bathroom. She lived in survival mode, while he lived in excess. The contrast gutted him. By dawn, he'd made his decision. Mira arrived at her boarding house at 6 a.m., exhausted. The stairs creaked under her weight. The hallway smelled like mold and regret. She unlocked her door and stopped. An envelope lay on the floor, thick, cream-colored, expensive. She picked it up with trembling fingers. Inside, a handwritten note and a key card. You deserve more than this. The penthouse at Ashford Residence is yours. No conditions, no debt. Just let me give you what you gave me. A chance. Mira's breath caught. The key card gleamed in the dim light, sleek, black, embossed with gold lettering. She should have thrown it away. Instead, she clutched it like a lifeline. 2 days later, Mira stood outside Ashford Residence, heart pounding. The building pierced the sky, glass and steel, impossibly elegant. Doormen in tailored uniforms, marble everything. She didn't belong here, but the key card burned in her pocket. Just look, she told herself. Just see. Then leave. The elevator ride to the top floor felt like ascending into another dimension. When the doors opened, she stepped into a world she'd only seen in movies. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Furniture that cost more than she'd earned in her lifetime. A kitchen larger than her entire room. Silence so profound it felt sacred. And on the marble counter, another note. Stay, please. You don't have to decide forever. Just stay tonight. Mira's fingers traced the words. Why was he doing this? Kale stood in the shadows of his own penthouse, watching her through the security feed on his phone. He'd given her space, installed her without appearing, wanting her to choose freely. Now he watched her move through the rooms like a ghost afraid to touch anything beautiful. His chest tightened. Damon appeared beside him. "Sir, the board is asking questions about her, about why you're involved. Tell them it's personal. They won't accept that. Your engagement to Sienna Caldwell is over." Damon's eyes widened. "Sir, you can't—" "I can, and I will." Kyle's voice was steel. "I'm not marrying someone who only sees my name and my fortune. Not anymore." "But Mira Solano, she's a cleaner. The media will—" "Let them talk." Kyle pocketed his phone. "I'm going to see her." When Kyle entered the penthouse, Mira stood by the windows, small against the vast cityscape, moonlight painting her in silver. She turned. "You shouldn't have done this." "I had to." "Why?" Her voice cracked. "You don't know me, I'm just—" "You're the woman who saved my life. One act doesn't make me worthy of all this." Kyle moved closer, slow, deliberate. "You think worthiness is about what you own, what you've achieved." He stopped just feet away. "I've spent my entire life surrounded by people who have everything, and not one of them would have stopped in that rain." Mira's eyes glistened. "This isn't real. You'll wake up and realize you made a mistake. The only mistake was waiting this long to find you." Silence stretched between them, charged, terrifying, fragile. "I can't stay here," Mira whispered. "Why not?" "Because I don't fit. Because people will talk. Because—" Her voice broke. "Because I'm afraid." "Of what?" She looked at him, really looked, and the truth spilled out. "That you'll see who I really am and realize I'm not worth saving." Kyle's chest hollowed. He'd been wealthy his entire life, surrounded by luxury, and yet this woman who had nothing believed she was worthless. He closed the distance between them. "Mira," he said softly, "the night you saved me, I wasn't unconscious the whole time. I heard you, talking to me while you waited for help." Her breath hitched. "You said, 'Please don't go. Someone out there needs you. Someone loves you. Just hold on.'" His voice roughened. "No one in my life has ever spoken to me like that. Like I was a person, not a name, not a fortune." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You gave me something I'd forgotten existed," Kyle continued. "Hope, kindness, truth." He reached up, hesitated, then gently wiped a tear from her face. "So don't tell me you're not worth it. You're the only real thing I've found in 28 years. Mira trembled under his touch. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "I just want you to let me give you what you deserve. Safety. Peace. A life that isn't just survival." "And what do you get?" Kale's lips curved. Sad, honest. "The knowledge that the woman who saved me gets to live the life she should have always had." Mira closed her eyes, felt the warmth of his hand, the impossible tenderness. "1 month," she whispered. "What? Give me 1 month, let me try this. If I still feel like I don't belong, I walk away. No guilt, no debt." Kyle's hand stilled, then, 1 month. She opened her eyes. "And you don't owe me anything. This isn't romance, this is just gratitude," Kyle finished, though his heart screamed otherwise. "Yes, gratitude." They stood there, two people pretending not to feel the gravity pulling them together. But in the reflection of the window, their silhouettes had already merged into one shadow. What Mira didn't know, Kale's ex-fiancée had just learned about the cleaner living in his penthouse, and Sienna Caldwell never lost anything without a fight. Especially not an Empire heir. Sienna Caldwell didn't knock. She entered Kale's office like she owned it. Blood-red dress, diamond earrings catching light like shards of ice, heels clicking against marble with the precision of a blade. Kale looked up from his desk. "We have nothing to discuss." "Oh, but we do." Sienna smiled, sharp, practiced, lethal. She dropped a tablet onto his desk. Care to explain this? The screen displayed a photo. Mira entering Ashford residence. Another. Mira at the penthouse window. A third. Kale's hand on her face, wiping away tears. His jaw tightened. You had her followed. I had you followed. Sienna circled his desk like a predator. Imagine my surprise when I discovered my fiancé moved some charity case into his private residence. Ex-fiancé. Not according to the board, not according to our families, not according to the merger contract your father signed before he died. Her voice sharpened. You break our engagement. You lose controlling interest in Ashford Empire. And we both know you won't let that happen. Kyle stood slowly. I'll buy out every clause. Pay whatever penalty. It's not about money. Sienna leaned against his desk. It's about legacy, power, everything you've built, and you'd throw it away for a girl who scrubs toilets. Don't. Kyle's voice dropped to something dangerous. Don't talk about her. Sienna laughed, cold, crystalline. You barely know her. One dramatic rescue in the rain and suddenly you're a romantic. She stepped closer. She saved your life, fine, write her a check, set up a trust fund, but don't destroy everything for some fantasy of noble poverty and true love. Get out. Make me leave, and I'll make her life hell. Sienna's smile vanished. One call to my contacts at the City Housing Authority. Suddenly her boarding house fails inspection. One word to employers. She loses every job. I can make her invisible, Kyle. Erase her from this city. Kyle's hands clenched. You wouldn't. Try me. Sienna straightened. Send her away. Tonight. Or watch me dismantle her existence piece by piece. She left before he could respond, perfume lingering like poison. Kyle stood alone in his office, fists shaking. He had two choices, protect his empire or protect Mira, but losing his company meant losing the resources to keep her safe from people like Sienna, and keeping his company meant letting Mira go. Mira woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, a view she still couldn't believe was real. 5 days in the penthouse, and every morning felt like waking in a dream. She found coffee waiting, fresh pastries, a note. Meeting all day. Make yourself at home. Kay. She smiled, despite herself. Then her phone rang, a number she didn't recognize. Hello? Miss Solano. The voice was female, smooth, venomous. My name is Sienna Caldwell. I believe we have something in common. Mira's stomach dropped. Kale Ashford, Sienna continued. He's been generous with you, hasn't he? I don't know what you... Let me be clear. Kale and I are engaged. Have been for 2 years. Our families, our companies, everything is intertwined. A pause. You're a complication he's too sentimental to resolve, so I'm resolving it for him. Mira's hands trembled. He never mentioned... Of course he didn't. Men like Kale don't explain themselves to women like you. Sienna's tone shifted, almost pitying. You seem sweet, naive. So I'll give you a choice. Leave now, quietly, and I'll ensure you receive compensation. Stay, and I'll destroy you. I'm not afraid of you. You should be. Sienna's voice turned to ice. I have lawyers, connections, power you can't imagine. And Kale? He'll choose his empire over you. He always does. So save yourself the heartbreak. Walk away. The line went dead. Mira stood frozen, phone in hand, the penthouse suddenly feeling like a cage. Kyle found her packing. Mira. He stopped in the doorway. What are you doing? She didn't look at him. Leaving. Why? Because I don't belong here. I never did. She shoved clothes into her worn duffel bag. This was a mistake. Kyle crossed the room in 3 strides. Did someone contact you? Mira's silence was answer enough. Sienna. His voice turned lethal. She said you're engaged. I was. Not anymore. She said you choose your company over me. Kyle grabbed her hands, stopping her frantic packing. "Look at me." Mira finally met his eyes, and the raw emotion there stole her breath. "I don't care what she said. I don't care what she threatened." His grip tightened. "You're not leaving." "Kyle, I can't be the reason you lose everything." "You're not. She is. And I won't let her win." "But your empire means nothing if I lose who I am trying to keep it." His voice cracked. "You reminded me I'm human. Don't take that away." Tears burned her eyes. "I'm scared. So am I." He pulled her close, foreheads touching, breathing shared. "But I'm more scared of becoming the man I was before you. Cold, empty, lost." Mira's hands found his chest, felt his heartbeat, wild and desperate. "Stay," Kyle whispered. "Please. One more day, one more week. Just stay." She wanted to. God, she wanted to. But before she could answer, his phone shattered the moment. Damon's voice through the speaker. "Sir, emergency. The board called a vote. They're trying to remove you as CEO. Sienna's father is leading the charge." Kale's entire body went rigid. "They're citing instability, poor judgment, unfit leadership." Damon's voice dropped. "Sir, if they succeed, you lose everything. The company, your father's legacy, all of it." Kyle pulled back from Mira, jaw set, eyes hardening. "When's the vote?" "Tomorrow, noon. And sir, they have the numbers." Unless I what?" Silence then. "Unless you prove them wrong. Show them you're still the man who built this empire, not distracted." Kyle closed his eyes. Mira stepped back. "Go. Do what you have to do." "Mira, I'll be here when you get back." She forced a smile. "I promised you a month, remember?" But as Kale left, shoulders tense, phone pressed to his ear, already strategizing, Mira felt the truth settle in her chest. He would choose his empire. They always did. And she would be exactly what Sienna said. A complication, a distraction, a mistake. She looked at her half-packed bag, then at the door. By morning, one of them would be gone, and the choice would shatter everything. Kyle didn't come back that night. Mira waited, watching the city lights blur through rain-streaked windows, phone silent beside her, heart sinking with every passing hour. By dawn, she understood. He'd made his choice. She packed the rest of her things as sunrise painted the penthouse gold, beautiful, cold, empty, left the keycard on the counter, wrote no note. What could she say? Thank you for pretending I mattered? She took the service elevator down, walked out through the back entrance, disappeared into the city like she'd never existed at all. Kyle stood before the board, 12 faces carved from stone and suspicion. Sienna sat beside her father, expression serene, victorious. "Mr. Ashford," the chairman began, "we've called this meeting to address concerns about your recent behavior." "My behavior is irrelevant to company performance," Kale said evenly. "Our numbers speak for themselves." "Numbers aren't everything." Sienna's father leaned forward. "Leadership requires focus, stability, not reckless decisions driven by misplaced sentiment." "You mean Mira?" Kyle's voice was steel. "We mean the girl you installed in your penthouse." Another board member spoke up. "A nobody, a cleaner. What message does that send to shareholders, to partners? It sends the message that I'm human." Laughter, sharp, dismissive. "You're not human, Kale," Sienna said softly. "You're an empire, and empires don't have weaknesses. They eliminate them." Kale's jaw tightened. "My personal life became our business when you broke your engagement." The chairman cut him off. "The merger with Caldwell Industries was contingent on that union. Without it, we lose billions. So here's our proposal. Reinstate your engagement to Sienna or we vote you out, effective immediately." Silence crashed through the room. Kale looked at Sienna, her smile sharp, knowing, then at the board, men who'd never risked anything for love, for truth, for something as fragile as human connection. "No," he said quietly. "Excuse me." I said no. Kyle stood. "So you want me to marry someone I don't love to protect a merger I don't need? To abandon the only person who's ever seen me as more than a name on a building?" His voice rose. "Then take the company. Take it all." The room erupted. "You're being irrational. Think about your father's legacy. You can't just walk away. Watch me." Kyle headed for the door. "Kale, wait." Sienna's voice stopped him. "You're really willing to lose everything for a girl you've known 2 weeks?" He turned. "She saved my life. You tried to destroy hers, so yes, I'd lose it all. Then you're a fool." "Maybe?" He smiled, sad, free. "But I'd rather be a fool who chose love than a king who chose nothing." He left the boardroom, left the company, left everything he'd built, and went to find the only thing that mattered. But when Kale reached the penthouse, it was empty. Key card on the counter, silence in every room, no note, no trace of her, except the faint scent of her shampoo on the pillow. His chest caved in. "Sir," Damon appeared in the doorway. "The board voted you're out. Sienna's father takes over as interim CEO." Kyle barely heard him. "Where did she go?" "What? Mira? Where is she?" Damon hesitated. I don't know. But sir, you just lost." "I lost nothing." Kyle grabbed his coat. "I lost a company. That's replaceable. She's not. How will you even find her?" Kyle stopped, thought. Then, "The boarding house. She'll go back there." Mira stood in her old room, peeling wallpaper, narrow bed, single window overlooking an alley. Home. Except it didn't feel like home anymore. Nothing did. She sat on the bed, holding the one thing she'd taken from the penthouse, the first note Kale had written. "You deserve more than this." Tears blurred the words. A knock shattered the silence. She opened the door, and there he was. Kale Ashford. Soaked from rain she hadn't noticed starting, breathing hard, eyes wild. "You left," he said. "You were busy. I was fighting for us." Mira's throat closed. "Kale, I lost the company." He stepped closer. "The board voted me out. I walked away from everything." Her heart stopped. "What?" "Because none of it matters without you." His voice broke. "I spent my whole life building an empire I didn't even want, playing a role, being who everyone expected." He reached for her hands. "Then you appeared, and for the first time I felt real. You shouldn't have done that." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm not worth—" "Stop." His hands cupped her face. "Stop saying you're not worth it. You saved my life. You reminded me what it feels like to be human, to care, to hope." His thumbs wiped her tears. "You're worth everything. But your legacy was my father's dream, not mine." Kyle pressed his forehead to hers. "My dream is standing right here, crying, believing she's not enough when she's everything." Mira sobbed, breaking, healing, terrified. "I can't give you wealth anymore," Kale whispered. "I can't give you penthouses or security or anything you deserve. All I have left is me, broken, lost, completely in love with you." Her breath caught. "What?" "I love you, Mira." His voice was raw, honest, trembling. "I've loved you since you breathed life into my lungs, since you stayed when everyone else walked away, since you looked at me like I was worth saving." "Kale, you don't have to say it back. You don't have to stay. But I needed you to know." He pulled back, eyes glistening. "You changed my life, and I'll spend the rest of mine trying to deserve what you gave me." Mira stared at him, this man who'd lost everything and called it freedom, who'd chosen her over empires. "I'm scared," she whispered. "Me too. I don't know how to do this." Neither do I. But, her voice broke, but I think I love you too. Kyle's eyes closed. Relief, disbelief, joy. Then Mira kissed him, not desperate like the first time. Not life-saving, just real. His hands tangled in her hair, her fingers gripped his wet shirt. Rain drummed against the window as they held each other, two broken people choosing to be whole together. When they pulled apart, breathless, Kyle smiled. So what now? Mira laughed through tears. Now? We figure it out. Together. Together, he echoed. And in that tiny room with peeling wallpaper, no empire, no wealth, nothing but each other, they'd never felt richer. But Sienna Caldwell wasn't finished, and what she did next would test whether love could survive when power played its final card. 3 weeks of simplicity. Kale found work as a consultant, using his business mind without the empire's weight. Mira kept her cleaning jobs, refusing to let him carry everything alone. They moved into a modest apartment in the East Quarter, shared meals on a second-hand table, walked through rain-soaked streets holding hands. It was ordinary. It was perfect. Until the morning Mira found the eviction notice taped to their door. Kyle, her hands shook as she read it. We have 48 hours. The landlord says we violated the lease. Kyle took the paper, jaw tightening. This is illegal. We've paid every month on time. It says structural violations, unauthorized occupancy. Mira's voice cracked. They're forcing everyone out of the building. Kyle's eyes narrowed. He pulled out his phone, made 3 calls. By the third, his expression had turned to stone. What? Mira asked. The building was just purchased. New owner initiated immediate eviction of all tenants. He met her eyes. The new owner is Caldwell Industries. Mira's blood turned cold. Sienna. She's not just coming after me anymore. Kale's voice was lethal. She's coming after you. By nightfall, 12 families stood in the rain outside their building, children crying, belongings in trash bags, nowhere to go. Mira watched them, guilt crushing her chest. This is because of me. This is because of her. Kyle pulled her close. And I'm ending it. How? You don't have... I still have one thing she wants. His eyes met hers. Me. Mira's heart stopped. No. Kyle, no. Listen to me. He cupped her face. I'm going to negotiate. Offer her what she needs to leave you alone. Leave all of them alone. You'll go back to her. I'll do whatever it takes to protect you. And lose yourself in the process? Tears burned her eyes. That's not protection, that's sacrifice. It's love, he whispered. Mira grabbed his hands. Then let me love you back. Let me fight with you. Not for you. Kyle stared at her. This woman who had nothing, who'd been knocked down by life repeatedly and still stood ready to fight an empire. What are you thinking? He asked softly. Mira's eyes hardened. I'm thinking Sienna made one mistake. What's that? She assumed I'd run. Mira straightened. But I'm done running. It's time she learned that the girl who saved your life isn't afraid of the woman trying to ruin it. Sienna sat in her corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows, designer everything, victory in every detail. Her assistant knocked. Ma'am, there's someone here to see you, no appointment. Tell them it's Mira Solano. Sienna's lips curved. Send her in. Mira entered, still in her cleaning uniform, hair pulled back, exhaustion under her eyes, but fire in her spine. Sienna gestured to a chair. Please, sit. Mira remained standing. I'm not here to negotiate. No. Sienna leaned back. Then why are you here? To tell you that you've already lost. Sienna laughed. I evicted you. I destroyed Kale's career. I control everything he built. How exactly have I lost? Because he's happy. Mira's voice was steady. For the first time in his life, he's free, and that terrifies you. Sienna's smile faltered. You thought taking his company would break him, Mira continued, but it liberated him. You thought threatening me would make him crawl back. Instead, it showed him who you really are. She stepped closer. You have his empire, but you'll never have what I have. And what's that? His heart. Sienna stood slowly. How poetic, but hearts don't pay bills. Love doesn't build legacies. She circled her desk. You're living in poverty, Mira, scrubbing floors, struggling. Is that really the life you want for him? I want him to choose his own life, not inherit one, not perform one. Mira met her gaze. And he chose me. Every single day, he chooses me. He'll resent you eventually. Sienna's voice dropped. When the money runs out, when reality sets in, when he remembers everything he gave up. Maybe. Mira didn't flinch. But at least he'll resent me honestly. Not spend his life pretending to love someone who only wants his name. Sienna's expression turned venomous. You think you're noble. You're naive. Kyle was built for power. Give him 6 months in your little fantasy, and he'll realize he needs more than love to survive. Then that's his choice to make. Mira turned to leave. But you don't get to make it for him. Wait. Mira stopped. Sienna's voice changed, calculating, dangerous. I'll make you a deal. One you can't refuse. I'm not interested. $5 million cash transferred today. Sienna pulled out her phone. All you have to do is leave, disappear. Let Kyle believe you chose to walk away. Mira's hands clenched. Think about it, Sienna pressed. 5 million. You could help your community. Those families you're so worried about. You could build a life without struggling. All you have to do is break his heart to save his future. His future is his choice. Is it? Or are you being selfish, keeping him trapped in poverty because you're too proud to let him go? Sienna's words were surgical. If you really love him, you'd give him the chance to rebuild, without you dragging him down. Mira's throat tightened, because somewhere buried deep the words found their mark. What if she was being selfish? What if loving him meant letting him go? I need time, she whispered. You have 24 hours. Sienna handed her a card. After that, the offer disappears, and I make your life and his even more miserable. Mira took the card with trembling fingers and left before Sienna could see the tears. She found Kale waiting outside the building, soaked from rain, eyes searching hers desperately. What did she say? He asked. Mira looked at him, this man who'd sacrificed everything, who deserved the world. She offered me money, Mira said quietly. Kyle's expression darkened. How much? Enough to change everything. And what did you tell her? Mira's eyes filled with tears. I told her I needed time. Kyle went very still. Time to decide if you'll take it? Time to decide what's right. Her voice broke. What if she's right, Kale? What if I'm holding you back? What if you'd be better? He kissed her. Desperate, certain, absolute. When he pulled back, his hands framed her face. You are not holding me back. You set me free. But no buts, no doubts. His voice was fierce. I don't want the empire. I don't want the money. I want you, struggling, fighting, living with you. Mira sobbed against his chest. So tell me right now, Kyle whispered into her hair. Are you leaving? She pulled back, looked into his eyes, and gave him the only answer that mattered. But what Mira didn't know, Sienna had already set her final trap. And tomorrow, one choice would decide if love could survive when the past refused to let go. I'm not leaving. Mira's voice was steel, wrapped in tenderness. She tore Sienna's card in half, let the pieces fall like ash between them. Kyle exhaled, relief, love, disbelief flooding his features. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair, and for a moment, The world narrowed to just their shared breath. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For choosing us." Mira held him tighter. Always. But neither of them saw the photographer across the street, lens focused, shutter clicking, capturing everything. The article hit every major outlet by morning. Fallen empire heir living in squalor with mysterious lover. Kyle Ashford's shocking downfall. Photos plastered across screens. Kyle in worn clothes, Mira in her cleaning uniform, their modest apartment building. The eviction notice, everything intimate, exposed, weaponized. And worse, the narrative. Sources close to the situation suggest Mira Solano, a former cleaner with no education or family, manipulated the grieving heir during a vulnerable moment. Experts question whether Ashford's judgment was compromised by trauma, isolation, and predatory influence. Mira read it on her phone, hands shaking. "They're calling me a con artist." Kyle's jaw was granite. "They're desperate. Sienna's trying to destroy your credibility before anyone can see the truth." "What truth? That I'm exactly what they say, nobody who got lucky? That you're the woman I love." He grabbed her shoulders. "And nothing they print changes that." But Mira saw the pain in his eyes, the humiliation, the weight of becoming a cautionary tale. "This is killing you," she whispered. "No, losing you would kill me." He pulled her close. This is just noise." By noon, it got worse. Kyle's phone exploded with messages, former colleagues, business partners, family lawyers. All saying the same thing. Come back, apologize, reinstate the engagement, save yourself. Then, a call from Damon. "Sir, I need you to see something." His voice was tight. "Sienna's holding a press conference in an hour. She's announcing that you've agreed to return. That this was all a mental health episode, that treatment has been arranged." Kyle's blood froze. "She's lying." "I know. But she has doctors lined up. Testimonies from board members. A narrative so airtight that if you don't show up to refute it, the public will believe her version. Let them. Sir, if she succeeds, she'll have you declared unfit. She'll claim conservatorship, control everything." Damon's voice dropped, "Including who you're allowed to see." Kyle's grip tightened on the phone. "She's trying to legally separate us." "Yes, and if you don't fight back publicly, with evidence, with truth, she wins. Forever." Mira listened from the doorway, heart shattering. "Kyle," he turned to her, "I have to go, I have to face her." "Then I'm coming with you." "Mira, no, this will be brutal." "Exactly." She stepped forward. "Which is why you need me there, to remind you who you're fighting for." Kyle stared at her, this woman who refused to hide, who stood tall despite everything. "Together?" he asked softly. "Always." The press conference was chaos, cameras, reporters, Sienna at a podium, immaculate, composed, victorious. Her statement was surgical. Kyle Ashford has struggled significantly since his accident. Trauma, confusion, and poor judgment led to decisions that don't reflect his true character. We've arranged comprehensive care, and I'm committed to supporting him through recovery. As his fiancée and partner, murmurs rippled through the crowd. Questions will not be taken at this time. I have one. Every head turned. Kyle stood at the back of the room, Mira beside him, hand in his. Sienna's expression cracked for half a second. "Kyle, you shouldn't be here." "Why? Because you've already written my story?" He moved forward, crowd parting. "Declared me unfit, decided my truth for me." Cameras swung toward him, flashes erupting. "Kyle, please." Sienna's voice was honey over venom. "This isn't the place. This is exactly the place." He reached the podium. "You want to tell them I'm unwell? Fine. Let me tell them what actually happened." Silence gripped the room. Kyle turned to the cameras. "My name is Kyle Ashford. 6 weeks ago, I nearly died in a car accident. A woman saved my life, not because she knew who I was, but because she was kind. His voice steadied. That woman is Mira Solano, and everything that's happened since, walking away from my company, ending my engagement, choosing a simple life, wasn't mental illness. It was clarity. Sienna's facade crumbled. You're making a mistake. The only mistake was living a life that wasn't mine. Kale looked directly into the cameras. I was raised to be an empire, taught to value power over people, success over soul, and I was miserable. His hand found Mira's. Then I met someone who saw me as human, who asked nothing, who gave everything, and for the first time I felt free. Reporters shouted questions. Sienna tried to regain control, but Kale's voice cut through. So yes, I left my company. I chose love over legacy, and I'd do it again. He turned to Sienna. You can't control me anymore. You can't rewrite my story, because I'm finally writing it myself. Sienna's eyes blazed. You'll regret this. No. Kyle smiled, sad, free, certain. I finally don't. He turned to leave, Mira's hand in his, but Sienna's voice stopped them. She's pregnant. The room went silent. Kyle froze, turned slowly. What? Sienna's smile returned, triumphant, cruel. I wasn't going to announce it yet, but since you're determined to burn bridges... She placed a hand on her stomach. We're having a child, Kale. Conceived before you ended things, before your accident, before her. Mira felt the ground dissolve beneath her. Kyle's face drained of color. You're lying. Am I? Sienna produced a medical document. 12 weeks. Confirmed by 3 separate doctors. You can demand DNA tests if you'd like. After the birth. Her eyes glittered. But you'll wait 9 months wondering. 9 months watching me carry your child. 9 months deciding whether you can really abandon your own blood for someone who will never give you what I already have. Mira's hand slipped from Kyle's. He reached for her. Mira. But she stepped back, tears streaming. You need to figure this out. There's nothing to figure out. If she's telling the truth, that's your child. Mira's voice broke. And I can't ask you to choose between us. Mira, please. But she was already moving toward the exit, cameras flashing, world collapsing. Kale started after her, but Sienna's voice cut through. Let her go, Kale. She's doing you a favor. Now you can do the right thing. For your child, for your legacy, for the life you were always meant to have. Kyle stood frozen between 2 futures, the woman he loved disappearing into the crowd, and the woman carrying what might be his child. One truth, one lie. One choice that would define the rest of his life. But which was which? Kale didn't chase Mira, not because he didn't want to, but because Sienna's words had wrapped around his throat like chains. Your child. He turned to Sienna, voice deadly quiet. If you're lying, I'm not. She handed him the medical documents. 12 weeks. Do the math. He did. The timeline aligned. Barely. Right before the accident. Before everything changed. I want a paternity test. Now. Not possible until the 2nd trimester. 8 more weeks. Sienna's smile was serpentine. But I understand your skepticism. After all, you've been distracted. Kyle's hands clenched. Every instinct screamed this was manipulation. But what if it wasn't? What if he walked away from his own child? I need time, he said. Of course. Sienna stepped closer. Take all the time you need. But remember, that girl you're chasing, she'll never give you what I already am. A future, a legacy. Family. Kyle left without another word, but he didn't go after Mira, and that silence said everything. Mira ran until her lungs burned. She ended up at the bridge where she used to walk home from night shifts, city lights reflecting in dark water, rain beginning to fall. Her phone buzzed. Kyle's name. She let it ring. Again. Again. 10 times. Finally, a text. Please, let me explain. But what was there to explain? If Sienna was pregnant, Kale had a responsibility. A child deserved a father. And Mira. Mira was exactly what the article said, a complication. She typed back, "You need to do what's right for your child. I understand." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "What about what's right for us?" Mira closed her eyes, tears mixing with rain. "There is no us if it means your child grows up without a father. I won't be the reason for that." She turned off her phone and walked into the rain. 3 days of silence. Kale barely slept, barely ate. He hired private investigators to verify Sienna's claim, but medical records were sealed, doctors legally bound. He was trapped in limbo. Damon found him staring at the city from a hotel window. "Sir, you need to see this." He handed Kale a tablet, security footage, from the hospital where Sienna claimed to have had her pregnancy confirmed, time-stamped 3 months ago. But the woman entering wasn't Sienna. It was her assistant, same build, wearing Sienna's coat and sunglasses. "She faked it," Kyle breathed. "We can't prove it yet, but—" Damon pulled up another file. Sienna's medical records from her personal physician. Encrypted, but we found a source. She had a procedure 5 years ago. Voluntary sterilization. Kyle's blood turned to ice. "She can't have children." "No, sir, she can't." The betrayal was absolute. Kyle grabbed his coat. "Where's Mira?" "We don't know. Her phone's off. She's not at the apartment." "Find her." Kyle's voice was steel. "I don't care what it takes. Find her." Mira stood at the edge of the bridge, rain soaking through her clothes. Not suicidal, just lost. She'd returned to the boarding house, but it was condemned now, Sienna's doing. Her jobs had fired her, media attention making her a liability. She had nowhere to go, no money, no plan, just the echo of Kyle's voice. What about what's right for us? But there was no us anymore. Mira. She spun. Kyle stood 10 feet away, drenched, breathless, eyes wild. "How did you find me?" I remembered. He moved closer, slow. "You told me once, when you were caring for me after the accident. You said this bridge was where you came to think, to decide whether to keep fighting or give up." Mira's throat closed. "She lied," Kyle said. "Sienna, there's no baby. There never was." Mira's knees nearly buckled. "What?" "She's infertile. Has been for years. The pregnancy was fabricated, medical fraud, all of it designed to separate us." Tears streamed down Mira's face. "Why would she?" "Because she knew it was the one thing that would make you walk away." Kale closed the distance. "The one lie that would make you sacrifice yourself." "I thought," Mira's voice broke, "I thought I was doing the right thing." "You were doing what you always do, putting everyone else first." His hands cupped her face. "But I need you to be selfish, just once. Choose yourself. Choose us." "Kale, I love you." His voice cracked. "I love you so much it terrifies me. And I know I'm asking you to risk everything, your peace, your safety, your heart. But I'm begging you." His forehead pressed to hers. "Don't leave me. Please." Mira sobbed against him. "I'm scared." "Me too." "What if this doesn't work? Then we fail together." He pulled back, eyes glistening. "But we try. We fight. We choose each other every single day until it feels less like choosing and more like breathing." Mira looked at him, this man who'd lost everything and called it freedom, who'd fought for her when the world said she wasn't worth it. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay. Okay." She kissed him, desperate, certain, real. "I choose us." Kale lifted her off the ground, spinning her as rain poured and city lights blurred into stars. When he set her down, breathless, he smiled. "So what now?" "Now?" Mira laughed through tears. "Now we build something new, something ours. No empire. No empire." She took his hand. "Just us, and whatever we create together." 6 months later, the community center stood in the East Quarter, modest, warm, filled with life. Mira taught literacy classes to kids who'd been forgotten by the system. Kale consulted for small businesses that couldn't afford elite firms. Together, they'd created something neither of them could have built alone, a place where people mattered more than profit. Sienna had been charged with fraud. The company she'd stolen crumbled under investigations. Kale didn't gloat. He simply moved on. Now, standing in the center's main room, watching Mira read to a group of children, Kale felt something he'd never experienced in his empire. Peace. She looked up, met his eyes, smiled, and in that smile he saw everything. The woman who'd saved his life, who'd chosen him when he had nothing, who'd taught him that love wasn't about what you could give, but who you became when you gave it. He crossed the room, took her hand. "Hi," she whispered. "Hi," he whispered back. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by laughter and hope and the life they'd built from ashes, they finally understood. True wealth was never counted in millions. It was measured in moments like this, in hands held, in promises kept, in love that chose honesty over comfort, struggle over security, truth over everything. The rain had stopped months ago, but its memory remained. In the kiss that saved a life. In the choice that changed everything. In the love that proved some things are worth more than empires. Mira stood at the window of their small apartment, morning light streaming in, coffee brewing, Kyle's arms wrapped around her from behind. "Do you ever miss it?" she asked quietly. "The wealth, the power." Kyle pressed a kiss to her temple. "Every single day." She tensed. "I miss who I thought I had to be," he continued softly. "The performance, the armor, the emptiness dressed up as success." He turned her to face him. "But I don't miss the man I was, because he never would have known you." Mira's eyes filled. "I love you. I love you more." "Impossible." He smiled, that rare, genuine smile reserved only for her. "Want to bet?" She laughed, kissed him. Let herself believe in the impossible, that a poor girl and an empire heir could build something real. That love didn't need wealth to survive, that the best things in life were the ones you chose, not the ones you inherited. The city woke around them, but in their small corner of the world they'd found everything that mattered, and it was enough. More than enough. It was everything. If this story touched your heart, rate it from 0 to 10 in the comments. And remember, the greatest love stories aren't about what you gain, but what you're willing to lose for something real. Thank you for staying until the end.